Section 24, Az-Zumar, verse 32 to Fussilat, verse 46. This section begins by continuing Surah Az-Zumar with a call to return in sincere, genuine faith to Allah before it is too late. The surah ends by speaking of the end of creation, the two blows of the trumpet, and humanity being led to hellfire and paradise. The section then moves on to the first of the 7 surahs that begin with Hamim, Surah Ghafir. The surah deals with the struggle between truth and falsehood and starts by describing the opposing qualities of the divine. Immediately, destruction of nations who rejected is mentioned, after which we are told of angels who pray for the believers. Then comes a detailed description of the scenes of the Day of Judgment. The surah then moves on to the repeated narrative in the Qur'an, the struggle between Musa alayhi salam and Pharaoh, but from a different angle. Here we are introduced to a believer from the household of Pharaoh who originally concealed his faith but who finally declared his faith as he challenged the arrogance of Pharaoh. The promise is then made that Allah will give victory to His messengers and to the believers. The surah then speaks of some of the signs in creation of the Creator for people to reflect upon and ends with a warning of the fates of those who reject the messengers. The section then moves on to the second of the Hamim surahs, Surah Fussilat. The surah starts by speaking of the reality of revelation, followed by mention of the beginning of creation. Then comes mention of mighty nations who rebelled and were destroyed, such as Ad and Thamud. The surah then speaks of the judgment of the unbelievers when limbs will testify, leaving no excuse, followed by mention of the highest believers and the great ending that they will experience as they leave this world. Signs in creation are then described, as is the stance of those who deny despite these clear signs.